So I know I said without further ado we're going to this, but I was just thinking not everybody has necessarily read Charisma on Command or gotten into that book, and I realize the physical part of it is a little bit important. So I just want to take a few more minutes and talk about exactly what I mean by engaging your body and a couple of the mistakes that people make. So the engaging your body part, we talked about the face, the gesticulations, this is all huge. But beyond that, there's also a personal space thing, a give and take. And this comes as you have more conversations with people, it becomes more intuitive. But what I wanted to talk about is the amount of space you give people and how it affects conversation. So the first thing that you're going to want to consider with personal space is how the way that you're addressing the person is going to make them feel. And this is nuanced. So for instance, if you're out in a bar and you walk up to a guy or a girl and you face them like this is very forward. Not good, not bad, but it's direct, it's forward. So if you're going to walk up to somebody and then pretend that you have a sidelong joke like you weren't purposely speaking to them, it makes no sense. If you're going to walk up to somebody directly like this in a bar context, you better be hitting on them directly because that is what your body is doing. What I see people do though is they mix their body language and the content. So they'll walk up sort of like sideways and then say like, listen, you're so beautiful and I just had to say. And they're already leaning back, they're walking away from the conversation. That mismatch, this is called incongruency, is going to hurt you. So I use the bar context, but you can think of this anywhere. When you're in conversation with someone, how does the way that you are addressing them, basically, are you square? Are you standing like this? Are you leaning in? Are you on your back foot? How is that affecting the dynamic? Generally speaking, what you want, what I like in most contexts, is fairly direct, right? And this is a broad generalization, but this goes for social situations, work situations, even in bars. Because what this does, it says, listen, I am talking to you. And like, you do not necessarily have permission to just turn around and walk away from me. Like, I am engaging you. The way that I counter that, and I get that it's hard to see, is I sort of take a stagger stance. So this is me standing feet together facing you. A stagger stance is just I take one foot, move it forward 4 inches, and put my weight on my back foot. So I'm still facing the person, but if you look at my body, it's sort of aligned back. This gives the person extra space between he and I, or she and I. And so there's a sense that I'm still addressing you, but I'm not invading your space. What I see a lot of people do that can make others run away from them is they sort of lean forward like this. They stagger step and then put their weight on the front foot. That can be very uncomfortable. So generally speaking, generally, and because I want to make a simple rule, it is very helpful to have a stagger stance and sort of be on your back foot. This lets the person know, I'm talking to you, I'm engaging you, I'm not saying walk away from me, but you have space, right? You have space to move. I'm not going to get up in your grill. Super, super helpful. So quick touching on body language. It's extremely nuanced and you need to watch out for this stuff. But I figure a helpful go-to rule for most situations would be in order at this point. So now, without further ado, now we're going to get into the 2 different modes of conversation. And we're going to start with the one that I like the best, which is comedy and joking.